Somewhere in Central Africa, roughly 200,000 years ago, the sky did something it sometimes still does today. It simply didn't stop. Not for a day. Not for a week. In certain regions, geological evidence suggests rainfall could persist for extended stretches during monsoon-driven climate shifts, turning open ground into standing water and trapping entire groups inside whatever shelter they could find. No electricity, no stored food beyond what was already gathered. Just people, rain, and time that refused to move. So what did they do with all those hours? This question sounds small until you realize how much of what makes us human might have been shaped inside it. Start with the obvious problem. Rain shuts down almost everything early humans depended on. Hunting becomes difficult when tracks wash away and prey scatters for cover. Foraging slows when visibility drops and the ground turns to mud. For a species whose entire day usually revolved around finding the next meal, a multi-day downpour wasn't just uncomfortable, it was a forced pause on survival itself. And forced pauses do something interesting to a brain built for constant activity. They create idle time, which for humans has never stayed idle for long. Archaeologists studying cave sites in places like Blombos in South Africa have found something telling buried in the layers of sediment that correspond to wetter climate periods. Concentrations of tools, engraved ochre, and early symbolic markings appear more densely in certain sheltered layers, the kind of spots that would have offered protection from sustained rain. Researchers are careful not to overstate this. Correlation isn't proof of cause, but the pattern raises a real question. Could enforced shelter time, hours with nothing to hunt and nowhere to forage, have pushed early humans towards something other than survival tasks? Toward marking, shaping, decorating. This idea connects to something psychologists call restricted environmental stimulation. Essentially, what happens to attention and creativity when normal activity options disappear. Modern studies on isolation and confinement, even something as ordinary as being stuck indoors during a storm, consistently show a measurable shift toward more reflective, imaginative mental activity once boredom sets in. The brain doesn't shut off when the body stops moving. It reroutes, which means those endless rainy stretches may have functioned as accidental incubators. Not for hunting skill, but for something rarer. Storytelling. Anthropologist Polly Wiesner spent years recording nighttime conversations among the Juhwansi people of the Kalahari and found something striking when she compared daytime talk to nighttime talk. Daytime conversation, when survival tasks dominated, revolved heavily around complaints, gossip, and practical matters. Nighttime conversation, when the group was simply sitting together with nothing left to do, shifted overwhelmingly toward stories, myths, and shared memory. Her research didn't focus specifically on rain, but it points to something relevant here. When forced stillness removes the day's usual tasks, human groups don't go silent. They start narrating. Now picture that same shift stretched across a multi-day storm. An entire group packed into a shallow cave or rock shelter. Firelight the only light source, nothing to do but talk. Some researchers have proposed that these forced gatherings, uncomfortable, cramped, occasionally tense, may have been where oral tradition itself began to take a more structured shape. Not proven, but plausible enough that several anthropologists take it seriously as one contributing factor among many. There's a physical layer to this too, one easy to overlook. Prolonged rain doesn't just stop hunting. It creates danger of its own. Flash flooding near rivers, hypothermia in exposed shelters, and mold or fungal growth on stored food all posed real threats long before anyone understood the biology behind them. Evidence from later Neolithic settlements shows early attempts at drainage channels dug around dwellings, simple trenches meant to redirect water away from sleeping areas. This wasn't sophisticated engineering. It was trial and error passed down until it worked well enough to repeat. And repetition, done across enough generations, eventually becomes knowledge nobody remembers learning. A child raised watching adults dig a small trench before a storm season doesn't think of it as invention. They think of it as simply what you do. Food posed its own quiet crisis. Extended rain meant reduced access to fresh kills or plant foraging, which likely increased reliance on whatever could be preserved beforehand. Some researchers studying early food processing suggest that smoking and drying techniques, methods that extend how long meat stays edible, may have been refined partly in response to unpredictable weather cycles, a way of banking against days when nothing new could be gathered. Again, the evidence here is indirect, pieced together from tool marks and residue analysis, rather than a single definitive discovery. But the logic tracks. Unpredictable rain rewards groups that prepare for scarcity before it arrives. Even sleep may have adjusted. Some sleep researchers examining pre-industrial and small-scale societies today have noted that rainfall correlates with earlier, longer sleep onset in certain communities, likely because darkness arrives sooner under heavy cloud cover and outdoor activity becomes pointless. It's a small detail, easy to miss, but it hints at something worth sitting with. Rain may have quietly shaped not just what humans did, but when their bodies expected to rest. Which brings us to the strange part of this whole picture. Almost everything ancient rain forced onto early humans, patience, close quarters, storytelling, food planning, adapted shelter, sounds less like hardship and more like the rough outline of culture itself. Not culture born from comfort or abundance, but from being trapped together with nothing to do except talk, wait, and figure out how to survive the next storm a little better than the last one. Maybe that's the part worth remembering the next time rain traps you indoors with nothing planned. It isn't wasted time in any evolutionary sense. It's one of the oldest, most familiar experiences our species has ever shared. Stretching back long before shelter meant a roof. Back to a cave mouth, a fire, and a group of people who had absolutely nowhere else to be, filling the silence the only way humans ever really have. By talking until the rain stopped. And somewhere in that talking, quietly becoming who we are now.